What if I told you that somewhere in nature, there exists a poison so powerful that less than a grain of sand could kill a human being? Some creatures carry toxins so deadly that touching them can be fatal. Others produce invisible chemicals that silently shut down the human body. These poisons weren't created in laboratories. They were produced naturally by plants, animals, and even bacteria, often as a way to defend themselves from predators. But when humans encounter them, the consequences can be catastrophic. Scientists measure the strength of these toxins in micrograms, which are millionths of a gram. That means an amount almost too small to see can be deadly. Today we are exploring the top 5 deadliest natural poisons on Earth. Each one is more terrifying than the last. Let's begin. Our first poison comes from a plant that grows in many parts of the world, the castor bean plant. At first glance, it looks completely harmless. But inside its seeds lies one of the most dangerous plant toxins known to science, ricin. Ricin works in a terrifyingly efficient way. Inside every living cell are structures called ribosomes. These ribosomes are responsible for producing proteins, which are essential for life. Ricin destroys these ribosomes. Once that happens, the cell loses its ability to function and quickly dies. A very small amount of ricin, just a few milligrams, can cause severe poisoning. Symptoms may include intense stomach pain, vomiting and diarrhea, internal bleeding, organ failure. What makes ricin especially dangerous is that it can enter the body in several ways. It can be inhaled, swallowed, or injected. Despite its deadly nature, the castor plant is still widely cultivated because its seeds produce castor oil, a substance used in many industrial and medical products. But before that oil can be used safely, the ricin must be carefully removed. And even though ricin is extremely dangerous, the next poison on our list is even more powerful. Hidden within the oceans is a toxin that has fascinated scientists for decades. It is called tetrodotoxin. This poison is most famously found in the pufferfish, a strange-looking fish that inflates its body like a balloon when threatened. But behind that unusual defense lies a far more dangerous weapon. Tetrodotoxin attacks the nervous system. Our nerves communicate using electrical signals, and those signals rely on tiny gateways in nerve cells called sodium channels. Tetrodotoxin blocks these channels completely. When this happens, the nerves can no longer send signals to the muscles. The result is rapid paralysis. Victims may first feel numbness around the lips and fingers. Soon after, their muscles stop responding. In severe cases, the person becomes completely paralyzed while still fully conscious. They cannot move, they cannot speak, and eventually they cannot breathe. In Japan, pufferfish, known as fugu, is considered a luxury dish. However, preparing it safely requires years of specialized training because the poisonous organs must be removed with extreme precision. Even today, mistakes occasionally happen. Yet tetrodotoxin is still far from the most dangerous poison nature has produced. Cyanide is one of the most well-known poisons in history, and it can occur naturally in certain plants. Small amounts of cyanide are found in foods like cassava, bitter almonds, and the seeds of some fruits. But in larger quantities, cyanide becomes extremely deadly. To understand why, we need to look at how the human body produces energy. Every cell in the body relies on oxygen to generate energy through a process known as cellular respiration. Cyanide blocks a critical enzyme involved in this process. When this happens, the cells can no longer use oxygen, even though oxygen is still present in the blood. In effect, the body begins to suffocate at the cellular level. This leads to symptoms such as dizziness, confusion, seizures, heart failure. High doses can cause death within minutes. Despite its terrifying reputation, cyanide is still not among the most powerful toxins in nature. The next one comes from a creature no larger than your thumb. Deep within the tropical rainforests of South America lives a small but extraordinary animal, the poison dart frog. These brightly colored frogs may look beautiful, but their skin contains a toxin so powerful that it can stop a heart in minutes. This toxin is called batrachotoxin. Batrachotoxin interferes with the same sodium channels used by nerves and muscles. However, instead of blocking them, it forces them to stay permanently open. This causes the nerves to fire uncontrollably. Muscles begin to contract without stopping, and eventually the heart falls into fatal rhythm disturbances. What makes this toxin especially frightening is that it can act through skin contact. Historically, indigenous hunters carefully collected the toxin from these frogs and used it to coat the tips of blow darts for hunting. One frog could provide enough poison to kill several animals. Scientists believe the frogs themselves do not produce the toxin directly. Instead, they likely obtain it from the insects they eat, showing how complex and interconnected natural ecosystems can be. But even this astonishing poison is not the most lethal substance found in nature. The most deadly natural poison known to science is botulinum toxin. This toxin is produced by a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum, which can grow in low-oxygen environments such as improperly preserved food. Botulinum toxin is unbelievably powerful. Scientists estimate that a single gram could theoretically kill more than 1 million people. The toxin attacks the communication between nerves and muscles. Normally, nerves release a chemical messenger called acetylcholine, which tells muscles to contract. Botulinum toxin blocks the release of this chemical. Without it, the muscles simply cannot move. This leads to a condition called botulism, which causes progressive paralysis. Victims may experience blurred vision, difficulty speaking, weakness, breathing failure. Without medical treatment, the paralysis can become fatal. And yet, despite its extreme toxicity, botulinum toxin has also become an important medical tool. In tiny, carefully controlled doses, doctors use it to treat muscle disorders and even in cosmetic treatments. It is a powerful example of how a substance can be both deadly and beneficial depending on how it is used. The greatness of God's creation can be seen even in the smallest and most powerful things in nature. These deadly poisons show an incredible level of precision and complexity. Tiny molecules produced by plants, animals, and bacteria can affect the human body in astonishing ways, shutting down nerves, muscles, and organs. The more science discovers about the natural world, the more it reveals the incredible power, wisdom, and design within God's creation.